Alright, welcome back. This is Peter at crunchyguitar.com. This is David. We're going to talk today about soloing with nuance. Please visit us at crunchyguitar.com so you can learn also there about soloing with nuance. Right?
Right.
Okay. Oh.
Well, basically, one of the other things that will give the solos feeling and more sort of emotional content is the way that you add some of the nuances that get applied to those notes, basically hammering on, pulling off, sliding, bending, and vibrato. That's a lot to tackle. We're not going to go into a great deal of depth into each one. I'm going to mostly talk right now about hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay, so basically all a hammer-on is getting two notes for the price of picking one note. So if you want to go from this note to this note, what happens with a hammer-on is that you pick the first note and then you drop your fingers onto the fret you want to go to and
hammering on
and make the note. Now what happens is you're not just kind of pressing your notes, the fingers on, because if you do, if you just kind of slowly move them into the string, what's going to happen is you're going to stop the string from ringing, but you're not going to actually hear it. You have to make a really quick, decisive move that drops your finger down onto the fingerboard. Now just because you're making it decisive doesn't mean it has to be fast. You can wait a long time. Go get the proverbial sandwich and come back and make a hammer on. So try just doing that slowly on each note, each pair of notes. The pinky's kind of hard, maybe do the extension of the fingers showing you elsewhere. That does not sound super expressive.
Well, no, but it's a technique. I want to say that you'll see the guys who who can really play the guitar and get a lot of chops going on. That this becomes another tool for doing a lot of things quickly like this. It's all just really fast hammer-ons, but
yeah.
We're talking about not using it as a way to play fast, but as a way to use it as an expressive technique.
Yeah. So instead of just playing, now we've talked about getting from one note to the other. A lot of times in blues, you use the lower note that you're hammering on from as just kind of an inflection or a flavor. Like if you really want to play this note, you might play it as a hammer-on from this note. And in that case, you do want to do the hammer-on as fast as possible.
Oh, you like when you go like this? Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just... And... So it just gives it a little bit more character. And so there's licks that include hammering on as part of the phrase. And there's using hammer-ons just as a way to accent a note. So that's something just to experiment with, trying hammering on and pulling off from different notes. And you can also try making phrases.
So the pull-off is the opposite of the hammer.
I haven't actually started talking about that yet.
Oh,
you're going to mess me up here.
Sorry.
I've been thinking about it.
Sorry.
Yeah. So there's the hammer-on as part of a phrase, and there's the hammer-on as a way to accent a note. So try experimenting with both of those, and in both cases doing it slowly, just to make sure that everything's really clean and really clear. So yes, then a pull-off is going to be the opposite of that, and that's where you're going to start with a note that's higher, like this note at the 7th fret on the 3rd string, and pull off to the 5th fret on the 3rd string. Now that's a little trickier because a lot of things are going on. It's really easy to brush the high strings as you're doing that, and so, but you want to be doing two things with the ring finger that are a little contradictory. You want to pull the string itself. You're kind of almost plucking it sideways with your ring finger and also lifting it up. And if you do a lot more plucking sideways, there's a better chance you're going to hit the high strings. But if you just lift it off, it's going to be really quiet when you get to the next note. It's a lot of little weird things that go and make that happen. So what a lot of people do, I know I tend to do it, is this kind of intentionally lazy playing where like the middle finger's kind of splayed out across the top two strings so that you don't really hear those top two notes. Then you can do whatever you want with the ring finger as you pull off. But again, just take it all over the scale.
What's interesting is if you see a lot of really aggressive guitar players like Stevie Ray and other heavy blues players, it's almost like they're strumming their solo. It's because their muting technique is so good, they're able to shut off every single string that they're not playing, so it almost seems like they're strumming their whole solo.
Yeah, which is a whole other thing we should talk about.
Right. So I was just saying that because that's why.
Yeah.
You know, about
because
the pull-off thing.
Because it's part of that whole aggressive way of playing. So try taking these pull-offs through the scale, and then taking little phrases. So some of those like simple phrases that I was doing in another lesson could work well with hammer-ons and pull-offs. So like if you have this, that can become the hammer-on, and then the descending line can become, and there's a little accented quick pull-off that's meant really to accent this note by pulling off quickly.
And if you crank up the volume and the saturation on your amp, one good thing will happen and one bad thing will happen. Is the good thing is that the pull-off and the hammer-on will be easier and you'll hear them louder, but on the other hand, the increased volume and increased saturation will boost all of the other sounds that you're trying to hide.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help to practice this loud, it helps to practice this soft, and if you've got it soft, then gradually bring up the volume until you can play it cleanly no matter where your amp is.
Yeah, because the distortion will cover a lot of things, but it'll also bring out all the little things you're missing.
Right.
Does that even make sense? All the little things that you're playing that are coming in along with the notes you're trying to play.
Right.
So those are a couple of things to try.
Or you can do this to get some strength.
Oh yeah, that's a good exercise.
It's a combination of it. If you can try and do that, that'll help.
And if you do it as slowly and loudly as possible with a clean tone. Yeah. Because when you're pulling off, you're really plucking that note with your finger. So if you can do it slowly, really make the notes come out.
But again, this is a technique that you want to have in your arsenal because it gives you so much. It gives you a way to express yourself. So it gives you something, another technique that you can use.
Yeah.
All right. So that's hammering on and pulling off.
That's hammering on and pulling off.
Hey, I'm gonna do a solo with just hammering on and pulling off.
Just hammering on and pulling off. 1,